Hi everyone, we're trying a new angle. What do you think? Java really needs my attention right now, so... You're watching the Christiana 321. I am the Christiana, and today we're doing the end of the year book tag. Made famous by, hang on, I saw it from Ariel Bissett, channel linked below. I don't know if she invented it, but she's the only person I've ever seen do it, so I'm gonna assume I'm just copying her. I'll also list the questions in the description. Are there any books that you have started this year that you need to finish? Rude. Yes. There are 2 books that I need to finish, and they're both set in Russia, and I've mentioned them both in here before. Number 1, Anna Karenina, This Thick Friend. Yeah. By Mr. Leo Tolstoy. I am reading this on audiobook, and it's just taking a while. I was supposed to have it done, I think by like the end of August, so that I could participate in the Tolstoy versus Dickens book club. Spoiler alert, I didn't. Right now, as I'm recording this, it's September 18th or 19th or something. I don't really like it very much. If I weren't already so committed to this, I would just DNF it. I kind of find it boring. I'm hoping that it picks up, or that I find it more interesting. But basically I've been reading it on audiobook, and I've been finding every excuse not to listen to it on audiobook. Like just looking up new podcasts to listen to instead of listening to the audiobook. The other one that I have to finish before the end of the year is The Bear and the Nightingale. And it's not a bad book. It's a good book. But it has contributed to my reading slump because it is very difficult for me to pick it up. Like, I don't know, can you see? I am not very far into this. I think part of the problem is it also being set in Russia. The names just trip me up a lot. But I need to finish both of those soon. The Bear and the Nightingales for a reading group that I think I am the last person that hasn't finished it yet. And that particular reading group, we don't meet about a book until we've all finished. Question number 2. You have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year. So, yes. I've got 3 different books that I might read for like spooky season that are like based in supernatural things but aren't necessarily scary. One of them, I need to take the sticker off, but it's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This one I think could legitimately be scary. Then the 2 that are more recently published that I'd like to that I might read for spooky season. When the Curtain Falls by Carrie Hope Fletcher. I've read 2 of her other novels, and they were both delightful. And they're very much magical realism, which is my kind of favorite genre. So this one is a dual timeline book with ghosts in some London theaters, which I think sounds delightful. And then Blood Like Magic, you also heard me talk about when I was talking about thick books, by Lae'zel Sandberry. And this one, some people in my life have actually read, so I might prioritize this one, just so, because I know that I'll have people to talk to about this, whereas the other 2, I may or may not. I'm sure people have read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Leave in the comments below which spooky book I should read next. Also, I've got an upcoming book, so everybody just loved the reading poetry for the first time, right? I don't know, I'm gonna assume you guys loved it. Whoever happens to be watching this, hi Mom. So I decided to do another one, a similar thing where it's a type of book that I haven't read before. So I wanted to do one where I read a bunch of graphic novels. So I went to my local bookstore, I went to my not local bookstore, I went on Amazon, and I got a bunch of graphic novels. So I've got 7 graphic novels. I don't think I'm going to put them all in that video. I think I know which one I'm going to cut already. But if you've read any of these, let me know if it's the one that should definitely stay on my list and be in my first graphic novel video, or if it's one that should definitely be cut. Either way. I should say, I don't know why, but I just feel like graphic novels are autumnal. I don't know why, they just seem like they should be kind of cozy, fun reads to do in the fall. So, the first one on my list is Fangs by Sarah Anderson. Look at how pretty this is. And then it's got the black pages. And I like the art. That's what I'm most worried about with graphic novels, is if it's art that I don't connect with, then it just takes me out of the story. Most of these have, I think, really good art that will be enjoyable for me to read. There's one that I think I'm going to scrap just because I know the art is not my style and it's going to take me out of it. I should give it a chance. I should be more open-minded. But, I don't know. So then the next one is Bubble by Morris, Morgan, Cliff, and Rice. That's a lot of people. Look how fun that looks. And then this one's got a lot more like detail and color and stuff. It reminds me of like comic books more than anime. That's one of the things. I really didn't want things that look like anime. And it's nothing against anime. Again, it's just not my style. It distracts me from the story. Then I got one that is I guess it's a non-fiction graphic novel called Tetris. And I think the history of the game Tetris. Illustrations, a little bit more wordy, I guess because it's nonfiction. Nonfiction graphic novel sounded really interesting, especially because it's about Tetris. And Tetris is a heck of a game. Then got In Real Life. Again, just like cute. I think this is kind of a YA romance, something to do about online role-playing games. Nice. Then one that I've definitely seen talked about on BookTube is Pumpkinheads by Faith Erin Hicks and Rainbow Rowell. And I mean, it's about pumpkin heads, right? So it's got to be autumnal. There is Skyward. This one I'm not sure about. Like, from the cover, I was totally into it, and the description. But it just seems a little, like, and it's not showing up as dark on camera. Like, the tone just seems kind of, like, dark. I don't know if that's what I need right now. Kind of want some lighthearted, fluffy stuff. So these are my autumnal reads. Question number 3. Is there a new release you're still waiting on? Yes. So there's a book called Loveless by Alice Oseman that everybody was talking about. I was so excited to get it. It seemed really cool and really interesting and up my alley. And turns out it wasn't released in the United States yet. And I ordered it from my local bookseller. Pre-order. It comes out in November. That local bookseller is not going to be local anymore. You know? So I don't know. I think that they'll ship it to me wherever I am. So I don't know if I'll read that this year. But I am excited for that one. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Well, we've talked about a lot of books I want to read before the end of the year. There's also 3 that we haven't talked about yet. as you may have noticed, about once a month I like to make a video about professional development books. Sneak peek, the next one I think I'm going to read is Robert's Rules of Order. It's a classic. I don't know that I'm going to agree with it because I feel like it might be outdated, but I'm not going to judge it before I read it. I've already judged it. I'm not going to judge it more. Then The Bookshop of the Brokenhearted. I don't know. I really, I know nothing about this book. It just seemed like I needed to buy it. I've read several books about bookshops and libraries this year, and so it just seemed on brand. And then the third book in this portion, for this question at least, is A Different Kind of Christmas by Alex Haley, a tale by the author of Roots. So I figured I would read this one in December. Very much does not seem like it's going to be a festive book. I don't know. One line from the synopsis. I won't read you the whole thing. Don't worry. The intense drama of a white southerner and a black slave who work towards a mutual goal. Haley once again gives us a moving story of physical and moral courage and an unforgettable tale of spiritual regeneration. So, yeah. Seems like a very different kind of Christmas indeed. But yeah, I wanted to have some kind of Christmas book that wasn't like Hallmark Christmas. I know, I just had the Bookshop of the Brokenhearted and that seems like it will be a little Hallmarky. There's nothing wrong with Hallmark. There's nothing wrong with a good cozy read. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? One that I haven't mentioned yet, but I plan on being my next audiobook after Anna Karenina, is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I'm in the process of reading all of the Jane Austen books. I've read, I think, about half of them so far. My next audiobook is going to be Persuasion. And Jane Austen has some bangers. That might be my new favorite. I've got no idea. I'm not even really sure what the concept is. And then the final question, have you already started making reading plans for next year? Yes, because I don't really make my reading plans super seasonally. Like, you heard several today that are like autumnal and Christmas and cozy reads. But in general, I try and stay away from that just because I never know how I'm going to be feeling. So like there was a book that I wanted to read in June because it had June in the title. And I didn't get to it in June and I just haven't read it. And you'll notice it wasn't, none of the books that we talked about today had June in the title because I've now moved it to June of next year. And you know how many years in a row I could do that? Forever. So I don't like doing that. But I have a few books, basically anything on here that wasn't specifically, Christmas or pumpkins or something. I could very easily just move to next year. And then I do have a couple of book-themed videos that I want to do, similar to reading a bunch of poetry books, reading a bunch of graphic novels, reading a bunch of books on a certain theme. So I will, I've got those coming up, and I'm not going to spoil them for you, just know. Alright, well, thanks for watching the end of the year booktube tag video. Answer any of the questions you like down below. I'd really be interested in if you've read any of the books that I mentioned so far. Do you recommend them? Or should I just mark them off my list already so that I can focus on better books? And yeah, hopefully by the time you're seeing this, I'll be week 2 of my new job. I'm gonna get settled in Wisconsin and with my new job before I start making videos up there. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe, and yeah, share with your friends. Good night, sweet dreams.